Hi, hello. My name is Jim Marquette. I would like to answer some questions about the film now. First of all, where did the idea come from? Well, that was all Claudia Rinke, our author who had for a long while been working with the United Nations and as a lawyer. And she had tremendous contacts into the youth movements for climate. So that also answers the second question that, yes, that took care of most of the context. So we first set out to film some demonstrations because we couldn't be sure whether this would be in magnitude a mass movement. So to the first demonstrations, we simply took my camera, and Claudia and I went there and took a look at the temperature. We just put our toe into the pool to see what would happen. And actually, at the time point, at the beginning of the last year, I was under the impression when the coal compromise happened in Germany that the protest movement was rock solid and that it would enlarge and that this would be a big wave coming from all sides. So we started investigating who would be available for comments and contacts. And we followed these people and we sorted out 6 movements, but still we didn't have any producer. So that took a while too, and then we met this wonderful producer, Rainer Körmel and Nina Spilger, and they jumped on the bandwagon. And still it was a very small film, but now we had a thing going for us because the movement was growing, and all of us were united in the wish that we wanted to have, we wanted to give a voice to young people and the different walks of the movement. Because in the end, what it all boils down to, it's about sort of a climate justice. It's about what kind of future is left for young people. Since the future belongs to young people, it was pretty clear to us who would be the storyteller of this whole thing. We never changed, though, we never changed the first idea. We never changed young people voicing their ideas in the streets, big demonstrations, big rallies, big posters. We wanted to have that, and we wanted to have the reasons. What drove them? How did it change their life? How did it affect friendships and their normal life? In the course of this process, we realized we wanted to have scientists too, so we added voices of scientists, and also there's a wide angle of veteran demonstrators and protesters. Like we have Wim Wenders in this movie who explains his view of why movements stopped in the past and got forgotten, where this certain fatigue may come from. And of course, we undertook the travel to the United Nations, where where this movement was speaking truth to power. And it happened right in front of our faces, that the Greta had her desperate hate speech in front of the UN panel, and Trump was there, and it was like, it was big time. So this is what comes around full circle in my life too. I became a photographer many, many years ago when the '68 movement started right in front of my face. And I became a photographer then because I got so angry that none of this was properly reported in our media. And now it's 50 years later, and this climate thing happens, and I have to admit that it's the same thing. The climate thing happens, there is a good story to tell, and you get your camera and do it. And of course, nobody does it alone. Like wonderful people in this team. We had the smallest and the best team I could have ever wished for. And it's a pretty informative, hopefully inspiring piece of film with all aspects on the climate protests. And I hope you'll enjoy it. Thanks very much. So I just realized there was there were a little more questions that I overlooked when I first read this piece of paper. Yeah, we focused on a certain balance in this film because we focused on hope. Hope is the element in this film. Understanding the desperation of the young people who get their futures stolen by our behavior, you have to realize that there's only the exit strategies to this terrible situation that we're in that can be interesting. Like, what can we do? How can we act? You know, how can we manage not to travel too much, not to overuse our cars and all that stuff? And the other question, what sort of pressure should we put on politics? What kind of balance, a new balance, do we need between economy and ecology? Because this is what it all boils down to, economy and ecology. And this is the conversation we have to have right now, because we're speaking on a very high level when we're speaking Europe, USA. We're speaking on a very high level. We're very wealthy compared to other nations. And the climate situation seems to be far away, but I'm not going to let myself get fooled by that, because already California is burning, Brazil is burning, and we need to do what we need to do right now. That's the thing. And yeah, I didn't want to get too close to the activists in a sense of, I didn't want to make a feature about how sympathetic are they, you know, I don't want to build up that pet shop of being real close. Doesn't work at this topic. This topic is something that's so relevant and so urgent. Nothing has ever been so relevant and urgent for mankind since Ice Age, I guess. So decisions have to be made. I don't want, you know, to have a film where you see all kinds of guys and you'll like them and they're all so sweet, you know, how they drink their tea and discuss their problems. No. We need the arguments, and we need the legitimate discussion about it. Who does it belong to? The topic of the future. So that's what drives me. After all these years, I must say, this drives me right now. Yes, I have different projects that I've made. This film took me about a year to finish because we waited and waited and waited because of the corona circumstances. And I shot a new movie and I shot another portion of a new movie. But these are not documentaries. This is like fiction stuff that I have in my head. And I still believe that the most important part, no matter whether you shoot films or take pictures, I'm a photographer by trade, but the main part is storytelling. So, story goes first. My most valuable tool is not the computer. My most valuable tool is my typewriter. So, I hope I answered everything okay, and I wish you a very nice festival. Bye-bye.